Hello, everybody, one and all, and welcome to the Erich Show, the only show you need to get your weekly dose of news, views, and information, and everything else related to cybersecurity.
Welcome to the Erich Show, featuring your hosts, Javvad, Malik, and Erich, Kron. Timely topics, poorly presented.
So I just thought of something. The introduction, when it runs, there's those pictures of myself and Erich and me, and I've got a real lion and he's got that Photoshop little bear in his lap. And those pictures are like 6 or 7 years old. And that was like when I was about to join KnowBe4. And I think Amanda, who works in our PR team, she was like, oh, I want to send out a press release. Do you have a good headshot? And I sent that picture over. And then as a response, Erich sent that one over because it's always an imitator, always comes in second with something less extravagant. And right on cue, there he is. How you doing, Erich?
I'm doing pretty good. And yes, I did have to recreate that. I felt it was only necessary for me to show you how it was really done. And I think I did it better. I don't know.
Debatable. Maybe we can put that up. Put it up as a LinkedIn poll.
Yeah, it's probably time we do a new intro or something. It's probably time we make this a little bit more professional. What do you think? Should we do that?
I don't know. I like the rough and ready, the human touch that we bring to it, the rough around the edges. It makes it more authentic and genuine. And I feel
the
like
being late,
people
showing up, and
yeah.
You know what? Though,
it's
so. Well, here's the thing. I got a couple people that want to be on the show. Remember, we used to do guests back in the day, and that was a lot of fun. So I don't know. What do you think about doing something like that again?
I don't know. It depends on who they are and whether they see. They need to be charismatic and have a good story to tell, have good opinions and a laugh. But they can't be too charismatic that make me look bad.
Yeah. I see what you're doing here. Yes. Yeah. We don't want that's the only reason
That's the only reason I hang around with you. When I hang around with you, I feel smart, I feel well traveled, I feel fit, I feel young, I feel, the list could go on and on, but that's why you're my best friend.
Oh, you go say something nice like that. What the hell, man? Well, it's Friday, and it's been an interesting week in cyber, don't you think? Have you gotten the stories pulled up yet? I'm trying to stall for you a little bit here.
I have. Of course I have. What do you think it is? Like, I was just waiting for you to do the intro. There you go.
Yeah. Okay, all right. I think you were supposed to do the other story about this place first.
This one?
Yeah, there we go. Yep, that's the one. Look, it's ransomware at... So I did see these, and yep. I think it's funny because it actually impacted people we know. I don't know if it impacted you much in your travels, but I know one of our colleagues, he was going, unfortunately, from Heathrow to Berlin, I think, which were both impacted. And what did he show us? He showed us his boarding pass, which was a handwritten, like he's allowed to use the restroom, like in the old school days where they'd give you a little hall pass. And I got to thinking about that. I'm like, man, how quickly could that go wrong?
Well, exactly. Apparently, Heathrow, if you're flying British Airways from Heathrow, they had the manual backup process that they could revert to, but other airlines didn't. So there was some, there's probably one person who still worked there from the 70s who says, I know how to run this whole place with a notebook and an old school calculator.
Yeah. Well, I had that happen to me years and years and years ago, back when I used to fly around and fix cancer diagnostics equipment. Okay. Aren't you glad it's not a military story?
Yeah, I know.
And I know. I had another life too, but I flew every single day, right? So, every once in a while, it would be like Friday, and I'd call up my wife, and I'd be like, hey, meet me in Vegas. And she'd come out and fly out in Vegas, and I'd meet her there, right? Well, we were there the opening weekend of the Bellagio, if that tells you how long ago this was.
Wow.
And on the way out, like the checkout system went down for Continental, which is what I flew back at the time. And the line was ridiculous. It was all the way out the door and like 3 deep outside of the airport. I mean, it was a madhouse because what they had to do was a person would come up there with their ID and they would actually have to call back to their central office and confirm the details for that person for every single individual. Wow. I don't know if that was the backup plan here also. I don't know. But they were doing the same thing, writing out boarding passes. Like, this is a problem that's been going around for many, many years, and it's still not a graceful backup.
It would be easier to just have a little note that say, I solemnly declare that I am the right person and I did buy a ticket for this.
Right. Now, as I understand it, it was the checkout system that was, or check-in system that was taken down, which I guess they could look you up then on there and say that, yes, you are indeed a passenger. I don't know if they were doing that while they were boarding the plane. I mean, how easy would it be to hop a quick flight over somewhere and instead end up in, like, I don't know, some other country, Italy, or, you know what I mean? I don't know how that was being played, but obviously this has got to slow things down horribly.
And this is, again, like when you look at the broader scheme of things, this should be like a wake up for the broader public and governments and policymakers that technology impacts every single facet of your life. It's not just your banking system, which it was like 20 years ago. The banks were the only one that really cared about any form of IT security. Now it's everything. Like you're looking at, you know, well, we'll cover JLR in a bit, but you look at flights, you look at anything. I mean, I can, it's so convenient that I can leave my house with my phone and my passport and I can travel across the world. And that's all I need. I can order Ubers, I can order food, I can find my way, I can get a rental car, I can check into my, get my plane ticket and everything. It just goes to show you that, and without that one device or without connectivity to all those different apps, you're basically kneecapped, and there's no real alternative.
Yeah, and we're not used to working with paper anymore. We just aren't used to that anymore. It's our processes rely so much on the digital stuff. And I've seen this in the past with organizations that have business continuity plans that still rely on digital systems. Like, they don't think about that. Yeah. Like, we've talked about it, I think, where they have all of their like contact trees and their BCP may even be in a digital format that you can't get to anymore, right? It all goes horribly wrong because they don't think through. They've never had to deal with that when you're just down to basically rubbing sticks together to make a fire, right?
Well, you know, and you know, I was at a round table a couple of days ago, and we were talking about this divide, and like, and one of the examples someone brought up is like, you know, if you're Gen X or something, older person, you're going to say that's a phone, whereas like that is a phone for younger people. The sign for a phone, like that's a phone, whereas we do that. Someone else asked, and on that thing, they were talking about icons being updated. Like now the save icon isn't the floppy disk; it's like a cloud with an arrow pointing up into it, or something in some platforms.
I noticed that. Okay.
But then someone shared a story about how they went to a shop and they were paying in cash for something, and the kid behind the till had clearly never used cash or counted money before, and so it was like £5.20 or something. And they had £10. They handed them £10, and then they said, "Oh, I've got 20 pence. Do you want this as well?" And the kid was so confused as to like, why are you giving me 20 pence on top of it? It's like, why? What has this got to do with anything? I've put the £10 in here. It's told me like what the £4.80 I need to give you back. What? And they were like, wow, this is just such an alien concept. Anyway, we are off track. So there has been a man. Help me out here.
Yeah, arrested in connection with that airport's cybersecurity attacks. And what I thought was interesting about this is this may be the fastest arrest I've ever seen made for any cybersecurity incident that I'm aware of. And so it makes me kind of wonder. I mean, if you think about it, this was very, very quickly done. So either this person is not very good at what they're doing and covering their tracks. I mean, a simple VPN you would think would slow some things down here. Or I don't even know. I don't even know what else it could be. But it seems interesting that this person was popped so very quickly.
I'll tell you why.
Why? Tell me why.
This was a man in his 40s. He was ancient. He doesn't know. It's all the kids that don't get caught. It's the 16-year-olds, 17-year-olds that are on Discord, and they're sharing all their techniques and processes all the time. They're the ones that know how to cover their tracks a lot better. But this man in West Sussex, he's probably living in his own house, not even in his mum's house.
Well, it makes me wonder if this was someone doing like a ransomware affiliate type thing, because I don't know if this guy would be smart enough to be able to build an infrastructure and you know what I mean? Like this is something that these days, I mean, ransomware is pretty visible. If you were going to write your own, it would be pretty visible to like EDR systems and things like that. Unless you kind of knew what you were doing. If you kind of knew what you were doing, you wouldn't get busted a few days after it all went south.
Unless he's a former employee of, was it Collins Forrester?
Possibly, yeah.
Collins Aerospace. So it might have been a disgruntled ex-employee.
That's true.
Something. I don't know. I'm just like throwing out ideas here.
Yeah.
No, I mean, there's nothing to back it up.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of questions to be asked about this because, I mean, it was a pretty significant event. It impacted a lot of people. I mean, the first thing you always think of is this a nation state action, or, you know what I mean? Like, okay,
Yep.
What's going on with this? There's been all kinds of movement with Russia and things like that. And so you kind of go, all right, what's the deal here? But then you find out that it's one guy in his 40s out of West Sussex, and you kind of go, okay, well, where's the fun in that?
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. I think what's interesting is this stat from Thales that said that in the aviation sector, cyber attacks have increased sixfold over the past year. So I don't know whether that's gone from one attack to six attacks,
right?
1,000 to 6,000, but it's a target. It's like every industry.
See, and I always question what they consider a cyber attack. Is it a phishing email? Right, because technically that's a cyber attack. It just didn't get anywhere, right? But we have seen some aviation stuff in the news. I mean, look at Qantas, and I mean it's been happening to some of the bigger ones. Yeah, and so obviously it's making the news, and frankly, that's a little scary. It's really scary to me knowing that from about the time you reach that 30,000 foot altitude to the time that you start coming down, the plane is in charge of things. And, it's like the pilot's just sitting there, they're playing games and, rock, paper, scissors to stay awake. The more things are digitally controlled, the more my tinfoil hat goes on and I start thinking about stuff like that.
Look at you getting all
I know.
paranoid.
I know.
Oh, this story.
Yeah, you know what? And so what got me on this one is, I don't know, man. 2/3 of businesses hit by deepfake attacks. That seems like such a large number to me. It's almost like that certain organization that releases the number of open cybersecurity jobs every year.
Yeah,
especially that you need certifications to get into. I mean, this just seems, I don't know, man, pretty extreme.
Yeah. When I first saw this, I was certain this was going to be a Ponemon Institute survey. And then I was really surprised that it's a Gartner.
It's a Gartner, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing is that there's very few artifacts that are available after the incident. So I think a lot of times organizations are trying to cover their backside by saying, oh, it was a deepfake attack. Of course, it wasn't, someone that didn't recognize what the voice of their
sophisticated.
Sophisticated and all that kind of thing. So I think it's just a bit scaremongery. I would have expected better. And then there's the fact that it puts this kind of article puts people down the wrong path of like, how do we stop AI attacks? How do we stop deepfake attacks, and what have you? And that's not really the question. It's really all about how do you recognize this stuff, and how do you build processes and awareness to stop people? So it's not the fact that someone uses AI or a deep fake to clone your CEO to say, like, go out and buy me $3,000 worth of gift cards. It's like, what processes do you have in place to stop that from happening? So I think that it just takes people down this completely, rabbit hole for no purpose.
Yeah, and you're right about, I mean, like I said, I felt like these numbers were inflated, and I have to wonder, it's a survey. So did they survey people in the I've been hit by a deepfake attack work group, or you know what I mean? Like it's really kind of that kind of skewed on this. And you're right, it's not about the deepfakes, and that's something I wish people were less freaked out by. There's a whole lot of like stuff around deepfakes, right, and like fear mongering, but ultimately, if you recognize the attack, it's oftentimes the same attack that's been going on pre-deepfake, right? With voice actors, that kind of stuff. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, James. Yeah. Needs to be more deepfake detection in social media platforms. That's true. And that's a lot of that. I mean, there's a lot of misinformation, disinformation floating around out there.
Yeah.
And, so much of that is absolutely fake.
Exactly. And it should be as simple as, even if it's, like when you watch a movie or show and they say that this show contains flashing images, so might trigger photolytic epilepsy. It should be just something even as simple as that. A little banner on the bottom or something, this contains some deepfake generated content. And, at least that way you stand somewhat of a fighting chance of being a bit skeptical of it.
Yeah, I feel like we're still not there where the detection is all that good yet.
No.
There's so many false positives. And I mean, that could be harmful for somebody telling a true story.
Yeah.
If it's thrown out there as a false positive. And I've talked about this actually in some of my deepfake talks. There was a case here where a sports teacher got upset with the principal of the school because he was basically, his contract wasn't renewed. He was said to be a lousy employee, so he created a deepfake of this person saying all kinds of horrible, terrible things, right? And it came back on him. Yes, he got charged. But then there was the flip side of that, which was there was this cheer mom that sent a video to the coach and said, look, here's another group of gals over here that's like smoking and, vaping and doing all kinds of bad stuff. And they turned around and they said, no, this is a deep fake. And she got dragged through like the media saying she made a deep fake. And it turns out it wasn't a deep fake. Like after all this stuff went down, it turns out it wasn't a deep fake. So it's kind of weird that we have both sides of the coin here that could go terribly wrong. And I think the detection is just, we're not there yet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yes, James. May contain AI.
Yeah.
There's also like, if you don't follow Perry Carpenter, folks, on LinkedIn, he's like a really good authority on deepfakes, and I don't think this is the exact, but there's another post he done that you could probably look up afterwards. But he speaks about how he tested like a whole bunch of deepfake detection technologies. Yeah. He created it, and he was able to fool nearly all of them. So
yeah, and he said it was like simple things with the voice ones. You just put it like an audio track behind it, like a music track or some little sound track behind it, like background noise, and boom, it sails right through. So yeah, we still need,
AI generated media has that signature glare.
A lot of times, yeah. I mean, but it's not always video either, though, that we're talking about here. We're talking about audio. We're talking about all of the other ways that you do the deepfake stuff, and it's getting better. Now, it's funny that years ago I saw something at RSA. It was the year that COVID hit. I remember that, right? It was the last year of the big RSA that I attended. And one of the things they had out there was a booth that said they were doing real-time deepfake audio detecting for call centers.
Okay.
And the idea was that people call in and they score you from the beginning, from the get-go. Like, are you calling from a strange phone number, et cetera, et cetera. And if you meet a certain criteria or threshold, then they come back and they ask you to confirm a couple of things, right? That's why you may get asked for some bit of information you didn't before or last time you called sometimes, right? Well, they were talking about listening for potential deepfakes while the people were basically on hold, and how it could identify that. And I asked him at the time, though, I said, has there been any actual documented deepfake attacks like this done? And they were like, well, sort of ish, and you know what I mean? But it's been a problem for that long. That was what, 2020? Yeah, it's 2020, I think, when that was. And here we are still trying to get through the detection piece. But part of it, I think, is the whole GAN idea, the generative adversarial network. So you generate a deepfake and then it goes before a discriminator. And if the discriminator catches it, then it goes back and it's regenerated or tweaked until such time as the discriminator can't detect it. And that's the idea behind GAN networks.
Interesting. So we are running out of time rapidly.
Are we?
We
have time on this?
I'm just trying to. Well, yeah. Otherwise, you just talk for 3 days. And you wouldn't
We're
shut
having
up.
a great conversation today. Thank you. Oh yeah.
JLR, Jaguar Land Rover shutdown extended again as ministers meet suppliers.
Wow.
It will remain suspended until next month at the earliest.
They were talking about spinning back up on the 24th, which was 2 days ago.
Yeah,
And now they're like, well, maybe not.
And this raises an important issue about the third party. There's so many smaller manufacturers and providers out there. They might be providing the little indicator cover or a part that goes inside and what have you. And all of those are out of business at the moment as well. They're sitting there. They can't produce anything because JLR isn't buying from them. And many of them have tight margins as well. So some of them might be going out of business. And that's what is concerning. It's not just one organization when it gets hit and breached, and it could affect a whole ecosystem. And I think that's a really scary and sad thing.
I honestly can't believe that they've been out this long. You know, we talked about backup procedures and business continuity and stuff. Man, this is a big failure on a business continuity plan right here, and shows a significant hole in their strategy, probably even a business strategy. It's not just cybersecurity anymore. Cyber is part of business, right? And this has just been brutal. You think about all the people that aren't working. You think about the cost, like you said, to suppliers and vendors, and man, this just rolls down. So I really hope this is a lesson to other organizations that you really, really, really need your continuity of operations and business recovery plans in place. You really do. Indeed.
I think that's quite deep now. That's quite heavy. We need a bit of levity to end a wrap up upon. And James has given us the perfect bit of levity.
Oh, no.
How did you hear how the hamburger introduced his girlfriend to everyone? Meet Patty.
Oh, I thought you said levity. I thought you said humor. That's tough. James.
It's a step up from what you were giving us.
Fair enough. Okay. All right. Well, anyways.
So I'm right.
Yeah, we'll go with that. I'll let you have that this week. Okay.
Do you have anything else? Do you have anything more lighthearted you can add?
No, not.
Okay, so he said no, so we will leave him at that. We don't like wasting other people's times or your time. We will see you again hopefully next week. Until then, everybody stay secure, look after each other.